This is just a short video to show you how the Electrickit converted Aga controls operate and how simple they are to use. So this control panel here is situated behind what was the firebox door. The layout of the panel will depend slightly on what version and model of Aga you had. The panel will be a little bit smaller, the control is absolutely identical, and for a 4-oven Aga you would have an extra dial that looks a bit like this, but it would be over at this end of the panel, and that would be controlling the warming ovens as well. So how do these controls operate? Well, at the moment we've got 2 red lights here. When those lights are lit, it indicates that power is available to the hobs and power is available to the ovens. Over here we have the display for the oven, main top oven, the roasting oven. That's switched off at the moment. I'll come on to that in a minute. And over here we have a control for the left-hand hob and a control for the right-hand hob. So if I talk you through the hobs first, I'll then talk you through how the oven actually works. So the hobs. Each hob has its own control. Each hob is independent of each other, so you can have just one hob turned on and the other one switched off, or that one switched on and that one switched off, or both on or both off. They're completely independent of each other. And each hob has a scale around the side here of 0 to 8. Very straightforward. A setting of 8 is very hot, and it would take about 35 minutes to get to that maximum temperature before you were to start cooking on it. Something like a setting of 6 or 7 would be a sort of frying temperature, and you can be sort of shallow frying or low simmering, which would probably be a setting of about 3 or 4, within 10 to 15 minutes of switching the hob on. So the hobs are very quick to warm up, they're very controllable, and as I say, they're completely independent of each other, and they're independent of the oven. So that's the hobs. Very straightforward. There's a little light down here, a green light, that when you turn the hob on, the green light comes on and it'll stay on until it reaches the setting that you want for your hob. When it reaches that setting, the light goes out. So that's the hobs, both absolutely similar or identical operation. And for the usage point of view, well, we tend to use one hob, either hob, it doesn't really matter. We'll get maybe 2 or 3 pans on that when we're cooking, which is what we need. So we don't need to have both hobs on all of the time. Quite often we'll have one switched off and one switched on, or both off, and then as we're preparing to do the cooking, we'll just turn the hob on, and by the time we're ready to actually cook in the in a pan on the hob, it'll be warm and up to temperature. So that's the hobs. Ovens, as I say, at the moment this is switched off. Very straightforward. Switch it on. Big green switch at the front there. The display does a little dance for a few seconds, and then it shows you that the temperature of the top or main roasting oven is, in my case, currently 38 degrees. So that panel is always indicating the temperature that that top oven is at. So currently the top oven is 38 degrees. Now, I can't cook on that because that's too low a temperature, so I want to adjust that to a temperature I can cook at. Now, these 2 buttons here, if you press either one of them, it will show you what is the oven actually set at. So what are you trying to achieve? At the moment, I'm trying to achieve 199 degrees. Well, let's say I want to do some roasting at a high temperature, so to adjust the temperature up, you just press that button and either click it individually, or click it once, it'll take it up by a degree, or you can press and hold and that'll make it go up rapidly. So I am now aiming at 220 degrees for the top oven, and currently the oven is at 38 degrees. Now to get to 200 degrees from sort of room temperature takes about an hour and a half. So again, if we're going to be roasting in this top oven, we usually set it to come on. If we haven't got the Aga on already, we'll set it to come on an hour and a half before we're ready to cook. And then it'll stay at whatever temperature you've set once it reaches that temperature, and it'll stay there within plus or minus 5 degrees. And the good news is the temperature of the top oven is always independent of the hobs. You can do what you like with the hobs. They can be on or off, and they don't impact on, and you can be using them, they don't impact on the temperature of the top oven at all. Now this display only shows the temperature of the top oven. The bottom oven doesn't have its own separate display, but as a rule of thumb, we always say to people that's going to be at about 70% of the displayed temperature of the top oven. So if your top oven you've set to 200 degrees, you'll be looking at a bottom oven temperature of approximately 140 to 150 degrees. That's it. Very straightforward to use, very controllable, and I hope you find this useful. Thanks.